Oh man, is the Iran war almost over? It's just getting started. I'm James Parker, screwing up the beginning of the James Show twice on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. So the concern about a long drawn out forever war may be put to bed pretty soon here. Donald Trump said yesterday repeatedly that this is a short-term excursion, and he repeated it in the applause after he made that statement. Listen to this yesterday.
So with your help and hard work, we're making America great again, and we're doing it much faster than we thought, and it's better, stronger, and our country is doing really well. I mean, at a level that nobody thought. We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil, and I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right?
Listen to me repeat it.
How good? Short term. Short term.
So I like the sound of that, kinda. Here's what I don't like about it. Of course, everyone likes the fact that the war's not going to drag on, and that means there's probably going to be less loss of life. There's going to be less expense, which means less inflation, less budget, whatever. But do you have to use the term excursion? Because excursion in modern America, or at least in the Parker household, is the little trips you get to take when you're on a cruise. And then when you stop at some port, are you going to take an excursion? Yeah, we're going to go get on an inner tube. We're going to float down some river. Or we're going to go to Mr. Sancho's and drink till we get silly at the swim up bar, or whatever it is, zip line, scooters, Mayan tour, excursion. It almost sounds fun. Yeah, it's an excursion. Yeah, we're just gonna go blow up some uranium facilities, knock out some ballistic missile depots. It'll be a good time. Short-term excursion, that's all. But he said yesterday, or he said recently, that the timetable has been moved up to like 4 to 6 weeks, and now he's talking short-term excursion. So he either really does have plans to get out of there as soon as possible, or he's concerned it's going to take a long time and he doesn't want the negative PR that comes with that to set in. And so he's just sort of delaying that disappointment of, no, it's going to be short term. I am hoping it really is a short term excursion. And I love the fact that this guy just drops bombs, and we're just going to keep dropping bombs, and we're not going to put boots on the ground, and we're just going to keep dropping bombs so we get the result we want. Now, there's only so much you can do with bombs. But even as like the non-interventionist libertarian, it's hard to argue against this. Again, I wouldn't do it. If I was president, I wouldn't be bombing Iran right now. I wouldn't be doing all these other interventions, but I wouldn't be doing hardly any of these interventions. So now that we are going to look at the interventions we have done, this looks like it might be more useful than what happened in Libya and in Egypt with the Arab Spring, or in Tunisia with the Arab Spring. It looks like might be more effective or fruitful than the Syrian civil war and how that was adjudicated for the ugly part of a decade there. I'm not a big fan. Still, let me go ahead and say this one more time. Not a big fan of overseas interventions or forever wars or even temporary wars. However, with no boots on the ground, we've lost 7 lives, and every one of them is a tragedy. We have reports of the ballpark of 140 other service members injured in the Iran war. If that's what it takes to knock out the Ayatollahs, I think most Americans would take that deal. Now, it's easy for you to say that's not your son or your daughter, but I really do hope that this is a short-term excursion. Now, Trump also is feeling his oats here, because while every president in your life has talked tough against the Ayatollahs, has talked tough against Iran, he's the first president to actually drop a bomb on them.
No, I don't want to brag, but they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of the I'm doing. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it. But we got it done, and we got the countries to all go along. Because I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to raise your tariffs to 200%, to 150%, and that's 10 times more than I'm asking for. And every single one, if it took me 5 minutes, that was like a long time. I was doing badly with that one.
Also, he was asked, that was when he was on stage, those last two. Now, there was a time when he was taking questions here. And this one feels like a gotcha question. Some guy from the New York Times was talking about this story that you may have seen floating around your social media feed about how Trump hit a girls' school with a missile and killed like 150 schoolgirls. Now, if that happened, it's a tragedy. But does anyone really think Trump's like, hey, you know what we should do? We should float a Tomahawk missile into a girls' school. That'd be great. That'll help. Does anyone think that was actually part of the plan? Because if it happened, you want to talk about collateral damage that just happens in wartime, period, point blank, end of story. Who really thinks that happened, though? Who really thinks that Donald Trump floated a missile into a girls' school, knowing it's a girls' school? I think there's about a 0% chance that happened. I mean, you might not like the guy's politics. You might not like his policies when it comes to the economy or when it comes to LGBTQ issues or whatever. But do you really think he's so evil he deliberately targeted a girls' school? What good would that do? What you think he just loves negative PR? That's what he wants, is he wants more criticism? Is that what you think? Because here's what, without even knowing what happened, let me go ahead and throw it out there. There's probably a military installation either at the school or adjacent to the school or nearby to the school, and they got hit really hard with bombs, and the reverberations were felt, the shockwaves were felt for blocks, and part of a roof collapsed in a girls' school and killed some girls. It's a tragedy. It's terrible. I wish it didn't happen. My heart aches for those families. Those girls are innocent, and this is terrible. But that's what war is. War is terrible. This is why I wouldn't have intervened in the first place. I don't want to be the guy who sends the Tomahawk missile that blows up the military installation next to the girls' school that causes it to collapse. However, it's just disingenuous. And look, you're being intellectually lazy if your political opponents have to constantly be lied about or extremely misinterpreted as, hey, look, he's just killing schoolgirls for fun. That's what this guy, my political opponent's so evil. He kills schoolgirls for fun. Can we stop with that? So some guy tried to get him on a gotcha question there today or yesterday.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation. But Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Yeah, I must not have caught that other question. I imagine he got asked at an earlier date. Hey, why did you missile those schools? Why'd you hit those schoolgirls with the Tomahawk missile? And he probably said, I don't know who hit them with the missile. I don't know. Maybe they hit themselves. Maybe it was another country. Maybe it was us. Maybe it was, who knows? I don't have the report. I don't have the information on that. And so then this guy, listen to this gotcha question. This is so bad faith, so dishonest.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a Tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked.
Okay. We got it. Is that a guy that's trying to get to the bottom, is trying to get to the truth, to share with his readers and his audience what's really going on in Iran? Or is he using his access in the White House press pool to try and tank the guy and help out his side politically? Now the question is, who runs Iran?
The United States has by far the strongest and most powerful military on the face of the earth. We're the strongest military anywhere in the earth, and now everybody understands it. Together with our Israeli partners, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. Iran's drone and missile capability is being utterly demolished. The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. But think of it. We knocked out 46, and actually took 3.5 days. Their terrorist leaders are gone. We're counting down the minutes until they will be gone. Think of it. We had leaders, and they're gone. Then we had new leaders and they're gone. And now nobody has any idea who the people are that are going to be the head of the country, and will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. As
All right, coming up next, Blaine Holtz. He's a retired brigadier general from the Air Force. We'll run this by him. Does he think Iran is going to be a short-term excursion? I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, homeowners, James Parker here. This is the nice lull with being a homeowner in Texas where your air conditioning bill slash heating bill slash electricity bill is actually reasonable. Well, look, it's only going to be this way for a month, maybe two. And by the time summer gets here, you will wish you had gone to rhinoshielddfw.com and gotten them to help out with your house. Because not only does it look great, look, it looks beautiful. It looks just as good as paint. The color lasts longer. It keeps the texture under it. It bonds to any surface. It could do wood. It could do brick. It could do stucco. It could do adobe. It could do aluminum. If your house is made of meatloaf, it could probably attach to that too. But here's the things paint can't do. Lower your energy costs. It can help insulate your home. It's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint. It blocks 90% of UV sun rays. So this summer, when your house is taking an absolute beating from the sun, if you got Rhino Shield, you're going to be happy you did, and it will save you money. It will save you comfort, and it will save you hassle. And one of the secrets is the sealing process that they do. They come out and they don't just slap Rhino Shield on your house. They have to go through and they have to doctor up your house and seal all the seams and the joints and the curves and the cracks and everything else. They prep your house and they get it ready so when the summer comes and it's 1,000 degrees outside, your house will perform better. You will be more comfortable. You will save money. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Will Iran be a short-term excursion? That's what Donald Trump said. I'm James Parker. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. My next guest is retired Brigadier General from the U.S. Air Force, Blaine Holtz, coming back on the James Show. And Blaine, how does that sound? Short-term excursion. Is that him being optimistic, or is that him being probable? Well, let's talk about that, because I think most people would prefer we can get this done without boots on the ground, but there's some things we can't do just from the air. Now, you're a retired military veteran. Let's talk a little more detail into that. What are some of the things that we can do with boots on the ground that we can't do from the air? All right, we're talking with Blaine Holt, U.S. Air Force Brigadier General, retired, of course. Now you see him on Newsmax and a couple other places, including the James Show here. Blaine Holt, this new guy, he's the son of the Ayatollah. We're told he's the new leader. Is he just going to get blowed up in the next 5 minutes or what? Right, right. Garrett, did you hit the big red button? Yeah, we don't have big red buttons. I'm just being dumb. Oh, there you go. Hang on, Diego Garcia. That's not the kid from Dora the Explorer. That's an island in the Indian Ocean. Well, we gotta don't assume everybody knows that. I only know that because I do talk radio way too much. So yeah, Diego Garcia, go ahead. Okay. So Donald Trump says we can insure them. Screw Lloyd's of London. Will that work? Oh. All right, good stuff. Blaine Holt, how do we find your work online? Ooh, that sounds good. All right, thank you very much. Blaine Holt on The James Show. Coming up next, Trump says no other president could get away with this, and he still claims that Cuba could be next, plus some updates from the White House press briefing. You're going to hear it all coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, maybe this Iran war is already over. We're almost over. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm taking the optimistic view for now because Trump said over and over yesterday, it's short term, short term, short term, short term. So either he knows it's going to be short term or he wants us to think it's going to be short term. But building on this sound clip from yesterday.
So with your help and hard work, we're making America great again, and we're doing it much faster than we thought. And it's better, stronger, and our country is doing really well. I mean, at a level that nobody thought. We took a little excursion because we felt we had to do that to get rid of some evil. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. How good is our military, right?
You know what? She repeats short term here a couple times.
How good? Short term. Short term.
You know, you get the feeling that before you go out there, and, you know, politicians on both Team Red and Team Blue do this. They got kind of review. This is the points we need to get out. This is the bullet points we need to get out. For the, you know, for Team Blue, they got to say, well, SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0. The Iran war is another bogged down forever war, unconstitutional. Team Red's got to go out there and say, we got to have the SAVE Act or they're going to steal elections. And the Iran war is going to be what? A short-term excursion. Because that's the key. That is the linchpin to public support. And I'm sorry this is such a political activity here, but it's the president doing anything, so it's going to be political. And the American people will support this as long as it doesn't last very long, and as long as there's no boots on the ground, as long as it doesn't cost a lot of money. I mean, the arguments against this are pretty shallow. And I'm a person who argues against it. I'm like, this is unconstitutional. You may just create more terrorists. It's not our business. If Iran oppresses their own people, we got our own problems with radical Islam up in Collin County that I'm worried about more so than Iran. But as long as it doesn't take long, as long as we don't lose a whole lot of blood and treasure in the effort, it's kind of hard to argue against it. I know there's not going to be a big groundswell against it unless this lasts a long time, unless there's a lot of blood, unless it's very expensive. So I want to pair that with something he said 2 days ago in saying Cuba is next.
As we achieve a historic transformation in Venezuela, we're also looking forward to the great change that will soon be coming to Cuba. Cuba's at the end of the line. They're very much at the end of the line. They have no money, they have no oil, they have a bad philosophy, they have a bad regime that's been bad for a long time. And they used to get the money from Venezuela, they get the oil from Venezuela, but they don't have any money from Venezuela, they don't have any oil, they don't have anything from, people can't even, they land in Cuba, they can't get gasoline to fly out, they have to leave their planes behind. And they want to negotiate, and they are negotiating with Marco and myself and some others. And I would think a deal would be made very easily with Cuba. But for 50 years I've been hearing, as a little boy, I'd be hearing about Cuba. Cuba's a disaster. But I've been hearing so much about Cuba. But Cuba's in its last moments of life, as it was. It'll have a great new life, but it's in its last moments of life the way it is. And but our focus right now is on Iran, and we'll do that. I would say, what will you do? Take about 2 days off, Marco? No, he won't. Maybe an hour. He'll take 1 hour off, and then he'll finish up a deal on Cuba.
So there's a master plan here, and the people that take these things in isolation are missing the bigger picture. There is a connection between Cuba and Venezuela and Iran. And that is this axis of evil that has been the one part of the international community that not only stands athwart the United States, but has some actual resources and something to say about it. We don't care if Rwanda hates us and chants death to America. We don't care if Tanzania wants to try and corner the oil market or sell their energy resources on the black market to China. But that's a different story because Venezuela, Iran, two of the biggest proven oil reserves, two of the biggest oil producing countries. They were using that for nefarious purposes. You say, well, Russia's a big oil producing country that uses it for nefarious purposes. Hey, don't worry. Don't worry, we got our eyes on Russia as well. But this is all kind of coming together and looking like a big master plan here. And if he's picking off these countries, Venezuela, Iran, Cuba, in just a short time, this guy can totally rearrange the New World Order where it's basically China and Russia versus everybody else. Coming up next, you're going to hear a little bit of new info from the press conference Carolyn Levitt had right before the James show started, and the Iranian foreign minister was on MSNBC, and he says, we have no plans of surrendering. We have no terms for a ceasefire. We're not even asking for a ceasefire. That's coming up next on the James show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, we have some Iran war updates for you on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, on your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Right before the James Show started, Carolyn Levitt, the White House spokeswoman, person, whatever, did a press conference, and there wasn't any big announcements, but there were a couple of small but important updates. Number one, when she lists her accomplishments in Iran, the number of sunk ships went up.
More than 5,000 enemy targets have been struck so far. Iran's ballistic missile attacks are down more than 90%, and their drone attacks are down by approximately 85% since the start of Operation Epic Fury. The United States is also annihilating the Iranian regime's navy, and we have destroyed more than 50 Iranian naval vessels, including a major drone carrier ship. None of the regime's vessels are operating in major regional waterways, and the Iranian Navy has been assessed as combat ineffective.
All right, did you hear that? The number of downed ships, 50. That's a new number. Now, listen, I'm not going to play the whole rundown here, but 2 minutes into her opening statement, before she started taking questions, Carolyn Levitt, she had her notes, and she was going through the list of objectives, just kind of restating it like she's done at pretty much every press conference that's been had since the Iran bombing started.
Moving forward, the stated objectives for Operation Epic Fury remain the same. Destroy the terrorist regime's ballistic missiles, raise their Iranian missile industry to the ground, ensure their terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region, and ensure that Iran never obtains a nuclear weapon. President Trump remains confident these goals will be accomplished in swift fashion. As for the oil, President Trump fully...
All right, so she goes and she talks about oil for a while, and then she talks about the SAVE Act for a while. So you can tell what her notes were. Her notes were, here's the accomplishments in Iran. Here are the objectives to restate in Iran. Here's the comeback on the very unpopular spike in gas prices. And then here's the next thing that you want to work on, the SAVE Act. She talks a little bit about the SAVE Act coming up. Well, of course, she gets questioned on the SAVE Act and about how oppressive it is to women and minorities and terrible. But here's where it gets really frustrating. We're now 14 and a half minutes into the press conference, and there's a fella here who's pretending to not know that she listed the objectives 2 minutes in to the press conference. He's like, well, when are we going to know what these objectives are?
Garrett.
John, you outlined to Steve the military components of what would be involved in ending this war, but it seems like there's a political component too. The president said to Fox earlier today that he doesn't believe the new Ayatollah can live in peace. He made a variety of comments suggesting that he should be involved in picking the new Iranian leader. Is the ending of this war also contingent on Iran selecting a leader that the president finds acceptable? And if so, how is that not the definition of a regime change war?
Look, as President Trump has blatantly and frankly stated, it's obviously within the best interest of the United States.
All right, now she's going to give like a 40-second answer, and then he's going to come back and still pretend like he didn't hear the objectives. Because she gave the objectives. He tried to add an objective, and she said why that wasn't included in the list. And now he's still going to pretend like Donald Trump is obscuring the objectives.
When they are achieved, then it will ultimately be up to the president to end this operation.
Okay, so I think you're not exactly addressing my question, though. Is that political objective also necessary for the president to decide to end this war?
Look, again, I just told you the objectives of Operation Epic Fury.
All right, well, let's let it go there because she's just going to repeat herself, and you've already heard this, but I couldn't do that job. I have a hard time not looking at that guy going, are you serious? Are you pretending to not know? I just said 12 minutes ago what the objectives are. I have it written in my notes. Look, see this piece of paper? See this right here? I'm going to turn it around. Look at you. See, these are the objectives. I read all these. See these bullet points right here? That's what I would do. I would do that, and then I would do that Sparta kick at the beginning of 300. Remember when the messenger comes? He's, yes, I give you land and water, or whatever he was saying. And he goes, this is Sparta. And he just kicks him right in the chest into that big well or hole, or what is that pit anyway? Kicks him into the pit. That's what I would do the podium. When the White House spokesman comes out there, and I wouldn't say this is Sparta. I might say like this is Texas or this is America or something like that. But if someone asked me the same question 3 times in a row when I've already spelled it out and he comes back the last time, it's like, well, I'm just trying to figure out what the objectives are. Like, that's it, I'm done. I would kick the podium over and walk out. Probably flip the bird backwards while I'm walking away. You know, the no-look bird? That's a pretty cool look. Well, it worked for me in high school, at least. So there's the updates there. Let's go see what the Iranian foreign minister is doing. He was on his favorite station, MSNBC. Hell, I'm surprised they haven't offered him a show yet. And the way he talks is, what are you talking about ceasefire? We don't want a ceasefire. We're not calling for a ceasefire. We're not getting hurt. We're not, the bombs aren't working. We're not dying. Everything's fine. Our military is doing great. In fact, our military is better than it was before the bombing. So there's no real grasp on reality here. But it sure is fun to listen to because you have a feeling like at any moment that this guy could get blown up with a bomb. Like they could be in the middle of his answer here and just. But anyway, here he is on MSNBC, getting some love, by the way.
Well, let me ask you, because what conditions would Iran accept to bring this war to an end?
Well, actually, we are not at that point yet. Obviously, this time is different from the previous time. Last time we accepted the ceasefire, but this time is quite different, and the reason is obvious. Last time they attacked us, they made aggression against us, they killed our people, they destroyed our places, and then asked for a ceasefire, and we accepted out of good faith because we were only exercising the act of self-defense. And when the aggression was stopped, we stopped too. But it didn't bring about peace. And now this year they again started to attack us. And again they have, they are killing our people. They are killing, girl students. They are attacking hospitals. Freshwater desalinations. Refineries. Everywhere.
Yeah. We don't need a ceasefire. What are you talking about? And I love the reframing of what happened last year when we bombed the snot out of them. And remember when Iran retaliated? They sent like 200 drones and missiles, and we shot most of them down, if not all of them down. Just like 0 casualties on our side. I think they might have blown up one Jeep on some base somewhere. Yeah, well, when they stopped, we stopped. So we did the ceasefire last year. We called off the dogs when they called off the dogs. Bro, you didn't have any dogs. You don't have any dogs now. But this is going to be interesting to see. How many more interviews is this guy going to get to do before he is atomized by some munitions? I don't have a good answer for that. I'm going to miss him if it happens, though. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, Mom Donnie's wife is coming under scrutiny in social media because some posts that she made celebrating October 7th and Muslim terrorism in general are coming back to haunt her. You'll hear the dirty details next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So how pro-terrorist are Mamdani and his wife? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WVAP. Oh, good to see you too. Shut up. Let's get into it. To tell the story, to set the table here for dinner, is going to be our neighbor over from Fort Worth, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil. If you haven't been keeping up with Dr. Phil, by the way, for a lot of people, your knowledge of Dr. Phil begins and ends with what he did with the Oprah show. And yeah, didn't he have his own little talk show? Well, he has split off from the networks, made his own network. And this new iteration of Dr. Phil is fantastic. If you weren't a fan of his before and you're a fan of WBAP, you might want to check it out because he sounds more like old James Parker these days than Oprah. But listen to this little 2-minute rundown on why Mamdani's wife is getting so much attention the last few days on social media.
For most Americans, it's nobody's business who you share your bed with. But that changes when you're married to one of the most powerful politicians in America. I'm talking about New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani and his wife, Rama Douaji. Now, being the spouse of the mayor of the largest city in America comes with a certain level of responsibility and scrutiny. And right now, Douaji deserves just a lot of that scrutiny. Report from the Jewish Insider, Douaji liked Instagram posts just hours after the October 7th attacks on Israel that celebrated Hamas assault and pushed anti-Israeli rhetoric. She liked one post claiming the October 7th mass rape was a hoax, and another showing Hamas militants breaking into Israel with tanks. And in case anyone has forgotten, on October 7th, Hamas terrorists murdered over 1,200 people and took more than 250 hostages. It doesn't matter how strongly someone supports the Palestinian cause. Anyone who likes what happened on October 7th is not standing for human rights. They're standing with terror. Mayor Mamdani defended his wife, saying,
My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall.
But let's get real and talk about the real story. When you're the spouse of the mayor of the largest city in America and you're supporting the murder of hundreds of innocent Jews, trust me, that's not private. That's public. And Mayor Mamdani, hear this clearly. When terror is excused, silence isn't neutrality. It's complicity. And that's the real story.
Ooh, Mamdani's wife was liking a whole bunch of terrorism posts. She was applauding October 7th. She was siding with the Palestinians on October 7th. Wow. Now, some people are making some quite obvious assumptions here. And although they are assumptions, it's pretty reasonable. Mamdani himself, not his wife, did he have similar posts that he managed to purge before anyone screenshotted him? Did he have a whole bunch of posts like that in his social media? Or do you think there's really just a grand canyon of difference in the politics between Mamdani and his wife? A guy who's an outspoken Muslim, an outspoken socialist, and just covered for the terrorists that tried to blow up the people in front of his house 2 days ago. Scott Jennings is talking with his guest. He has his own little show. This wasn't on CNN. Some lady, Elizabeth Pipko. She's a Republican Party spokeswoman. And they were talking about how, look, this Mamdani wife, turns out she probably loves terrorism, and that should be a big deal.
Arrested these folks. I'll ask you one more question about the Mamdani situation here, and I'm going to ask you about his wife, the First Lady of New York City. There have been dozens and dozens and dozens of posts that have been discovered online where she was liking posts that were celebrating October the 7th, that massacre that happened in Israel. She was calling it a rape hoax online. I mean, obviously, she was expressing solidarity and jubilee with the terrorists and what they had done on October the 7th. What do you make of this? I remember a couple of years ago, we had to live through the whole frenzy where Samuel Alito's wife had hung up a George Washington flag on their front porch, and the entire left and media went crazy. Are the mayor's wife's social media interactions here fair game for people to talk about?
Well, they're 100% fair game, but the problem is that we're pretending that this is a surprise, right? A bunch of people are not saying that, oh, this is not surprising at all. We know that he holds the same views. They're instead pretending that he is this innocent man who's married to someone who's completely off limits, and that very, very often in these high-profile relationships, the husband and wife don't discuss their political beliefs, and they might hold very different values, and it's irrelevant what she thinks. When in reality, not only is it not irrelevant what you think, but I think you and I and how many other people have said that these are his beliefs as well. Mamdani has not really fought the allegations at all over the last few years of campaigning that he does not share the exact same beliefs. When I saw this, I was wondering why it was a major story today. When I had seen those likes, we'd all discussed this many, many months ago, if not years ago at this point. So I think the narrative, again, is the problem. We're wondering if it's off limits to discuss her posts. Why are we not wondering the fact that he literally agrees with everything that she said? He probably has the exact same post that he had to hide before running, and we all know these are the exact views of the current mayor of New York City. I don't really care what his wife believes.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that too. I'm not so concerned about what the wife believes as I'm concerned about this is a guy this is your soulmate? Your soulmate's a terrorist sympathizer? That means you can't be too dug in with your heels against terrorism or your wife wouldn't want to be around you. You know, this isn't like a simple differences of opinions. This isn't even like a James Carville, Mary Madeline situation. We'll get to James Carville in just a second. You know, where one's a Republican, one's a Democrat, but these crazy kids are in love and they're going to find a way to make it work. But no, the people who want to kill you if you don't submit versus the people who won't submit, that's not a marriage that's going to work out. That's not a healthy marriage. So does it make more sense that Mamdani didn't know that his wife believed this? Does it make more sense that he knew his wife believes this, but he just loves her anyway and we're just two kids that are trying to work it out? Or does it make more sense? I'm not saying it's not possible that these other scenarios don't exist, but isn't the more probable scenario that he's sympathetic to those same views? Doesn't that make more sense in the light of his reaction to the terror attack from the Muslims just this weekend in front of his mayoral mansion, Gracie House in New York City? Is where the mayor lives, and that's New York City. There was the anti-Muslim protesters, Jake Lang and his goofy group of weirdos. But even worse was the guy screaming Allahu Akbar, throwing 2 homemade bombs. And he comes out there, he's like, boy, we sure do have to do something about white supremacy. Does it make more sense that he's really getting everything this wrong or that he is one of them? And when I say one of them, he's on Team Muslim. He's told you he's on Team Muslim. He's told you that's where his allegiances lie. And people have been trying to tell the people of New York and everywhere else, like, hey, I don't know about this guy. No, he represents the people. Really, he represents the people? He just flew home to Uganda to his family's compound. You know, and when I say compound, I don't mean they have a couple of houses on a 40-acre spread out in Van Zandt County. I mean, they're in Uganda. They have a giant walled-off multi-building installment because his family's one of the rich elites. Did you ever go to a family wedding in Uganda at a compound? I mean, did you? Do you eat rice with your hands? Do you pretend to eat rice with your hands? Stop, Garrett. You're not helping. No, here, it just makes more sense. He's on their side. He believes what they believe. Admit it. He is sympathetic with the terrorists, which is why he framed the attack, the attempted murder on straight white Christian male Jake Lang. Once again, taking the side against him. Taking the side of the Muslim immigrants. They're not even American. Yes, they're naturalized citizens, but no, they were born in a foreign country. They came here. They're not natural born citizens. They're not the same as you and me. And I actually had someone pop up. They're like, you wouldn't dare say that about Melania Trump. Yeah, I would. She's a foreigner. She's not born here. She's a naturalized citizen. Why would I not say that? That's not an insult to say someone's a foreigner. They're from a different country. Or they're from a different culture. The insult is if your country's culture makes you think it's okay to chuck nail bombs at some dude on the sidewalk in New York City for a difference of political opinion. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Let me squeeze in one call here. This is RL in Weatherford. Hey, RL, you're on WBAP.
Hey, James. Good day to you.
Good day.
Well, but I think couple things real quick. She really does. I agree with you. You know, what's the difference in what his wife says? Well, it depends, really. I mean, if there's a future for this guy, there was nobody ever thought much about Hillary either, and she was the one running the whole show, and she's still continues to be the one running the whole show. Secondly, I really think that people are real slow in this country to wake up to threats and different things. So they're so busy doing their daily stuff, and they're so selfish.
Hang on. I hate to play the semantic game, but no, this country isn't slow to pick on threats. This country is way too fast at picking up on irrational threats. The way that they go out there and they're worried about straight white Christian males or white rural rage. They're writing books. They're doing interviews. They're protesting ICE. Yeah, they get a little too freaked out. They're like, oh my God, they're enforcing our immigration laws. We better go stop them with our car.
I'm talking about the conservative people a little too slow sometimes. I think this all will. I really think. I mean, I'm a sixth generation Texan. Van Zandt County, 160 years. I really think that this will all eventually just play itself out. I think the Elians and the Rashidas and this kind of guy here, I think this comes to a head and it's done. And I think they become a done thing. Now, it may take a little bit longer than we want, but I think this type of situation is going to resolve itself one way or the other. And I don't see these people gaining too much. I realize there's a lot of crap going on and media exploits it to no end, but I really think this is going to play itself out eventually.
Well, what's going to happen in Frisco? How's that going to play itself out? They're almost unstoppable majority of votes.
Well, when people finally realize from 759 AD for 1,000 years to 1750, the Muslims, Mohammedites, what military calls them, they call them Mohammedites. I mean, they call them Muslims. Tried to take over the world, and it didn't work. And they killed a lot of people, and a lot of bad things happened. This is still the United States of America, and I think we are very tolerant about a lot of things that we shouldn't be. Trust me, I'm with you. I listen to you. You're preaching to the choir on this thing because I'm about 30 years older than you are. But it won't last.
I hear you.
It'll get to a fever pitch, and we will put it down or we will squash it down.
RL,
one way or the other.
I hope you're right, and I hope it happens one way and not the other. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. My next guest, Casey Fleming from Black Ops Partners, coming back on the James Show. Welcome back, Casey. One of the first things that I noticed from Trump's statements on Iran yesterday is he kept using the term short excursion. Is that what we're about to see here? Is this thing almost over? Yeah, I do. But Casey, hang on, you're teaching me something here. When did he talk to Putin? He talked to him since that statement, I imagine. So was it last night, this morning? Tell me more. How concerned should we be about sleeper cells here? Hey, Casey, can you hang on with me through the break? We got to take a news break here, but I have about 4 more questions for you. We'll continue with Casey Flemings from blackopspartners.com. How concerned should you be about Iranian sleeper cells? Are we about to get more popping up? And they don't necessarily have to be Iranian. The 2 guys in New York City at Mamdani's house, one was a Turk, one was an Afghan. So we'll talk more about that with Casey Fleming next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. How concerned should you be about sleeper cells? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, we know the danger is greater than zero. You saw that happen at Zoran Mamdani's mayoral mansion in New York City at Gracie House when the IED was thrown at the anti-Muslim protesters.
New York City!
My guest, continuing from blackopspartners.com, Casey Fleming. So let's talk about these sleeper cells. When we talk about sleeper cells, I feel like most of these we have to be worried about aren't like real organized sleeper cells that are working with the Iranian government or even Iranian. The example I just gave about the two guys chunking bombs in New York over the weekend, one fella was from Turkey, the other fella was from Afghanistan. So they're not even Iranian, but needless to say, they were upset about the Iranian situation because they see this as the Christian world attacking the Muslim world. But it's the same thing with the fella in Austin last weekend. He's from Senegal, and he was upset about the Iranian situation. So, if there is a concern about sleeper cells, they don't even have to be Iranian. That's one of the nice things about living out in the middle of nowhere. I feel pretty insulated from, terror attacks and sleeper cells and guys that are throwing improvised explosive devices at counter protesters. Am I being a little too naive, Casey? Is there anything you recommend for people concerned about sleeper cells? Do you just gun up or keep your head on a swivel or both? Woohoo! All right, well, good stuff. Casey Fleming, blackopspartners.com. Appreciate you being on the James Show yet again. All right, to the phones we go. This is Shane in Greenville. You're on WBAP. Hey, Shane.
Sir, I would like to ask the mayor of New York if he thinks his life is on the line if he ever condemns Hamas's actions, because wouldn't his wife have to take matters in her own hand?
I suppose so. Yeah. No, that's a valid point. So,
if they ever do condemn it, then they're an infidel, right? And
well, no. They could be exercising taqiyya, where you're allowed to lie for the sake of the religion. Yeah,
that's right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. They can say they're lying, but then he is a politician, so he's probably pretty good at that.
Well, we know that they lie about it. They've been caught too many times before. It's actually written into their, code of ethics. We don't have that in Christianity. We don't have the part where Jesus said, "Don't lie," unless it helps Christianity, or unless you're trying to trick the infidels, or unless you're trying to, commit mass murder on a terroristic scale. Then it's okay to lie. So, you would think, these are definite cultural differences that should have any objective observer kind of concerned about the Islamic world not assimilating over here, but they don't seem to be concerned about it.
But I would like to hear somebody ask him that. If you do condemn it, are you afraid? And see if he says yeah or no, he condemns it. Because then he can go back and say he's lying. But none of them have ever condemned nothing.
Well, what do you think he would say if he was asked a direct question?
Something like, I think all life is important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they've done in the past. I condemn all political violence. And in fact, that was part of his initial reaction on social media. He was like, violence has no place. There was white supremacist protesters and some counter protesters, and some bombs were found. Violence has no place in political protests. It's like, bro, we're not the violent ones. Violence isn't coming from both sides of the political aisle. It's coming from almost exclusively one side of the political aisle. There's not any right wingers who are running around throwing bombs and throwing little, nail IEDs at their political opponents. We're not setting people on fire. We're not going into 6th Street and shooting people. We're not shooting Jews as they come out of the museum in D.C. We're not driving our cars through crowds on holidays. It's not a both sides issue, but that's what I think they would say is Shane in Greenville.
Well, he's only upset that it happened in front of his house.
I don't even think he's upset about that. I think he's upset the bombs didn't go off.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And I'm not saying that to be like sensational or hateful or trying to get everybody to hate the guy. Absolutely, I think he's upset the bombs didn't go off.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they're making a big thing about you just go online and look it up to make it. So now they're telling everybody, yeah, just go online and do it. It's the worst bomb ever you can make, to kill hundreds of people.
Well, they will say that, Shane. But if the bomb goes off, what are the odds that it's going to be a Muslim of some flavor, or it's going to be a Lutheran with a grudge?
Very high. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. All right, thank you very much on a not funny topic, but yeah, that's Shane in Greenville. Saying some pretty obvious things, but look, I really do hope, that's one of the reasons I hope this is a short-term excursion. So as many as these sleeper cells can stay underwater as possible, that's probably best for all of us. Coming up next, we're going to have some updates on how this is affecting your gas prices with RT Trevino from the Crude Truth podcast. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, how bad's the price of gas going to get for you? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Mark Lee Van Camp and Robbins, three funny guys who are on right before the James Show from 11 to 2. And giving me another assist on this, RT Trevino, Crude Truth Podcast, Pecos Country Energy. I noticed the oil futures spiked up and are already on their way down. Does that mean the spike in gas prices are going to recede soon too? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had a whole oil price spike cycle. So I filled up on Monday with $3.20 over at Buc-ee's. That's a lot higher than around Christmas when it was about $2 out in Bug Tussle. Is it going to get higher before it gets lower? So are we still having issues with the Straits of Hormuz themselves or with the financial backing of the insurance companies for those ships? Well, yeah, and there seems to be a monopoly on that. What's keeping other big players from stepping in and filling that gap? Right. Move these strips through the straits of this horse. So is bad news for the oil producers on the other side of the planet good news for oil producers in Texas? All right, we're talking with RT Trevino from the Crude Truth Podcast. Donald Trump said that this is going to be a short-term excursion in Iran. The oil futures market seemed to jump on that and say that things are going to be back to normal in about 3 to 6 months. How reliable have the futures contract buyers been in the past? Well, there's nothing we can do about that. If you don't want to get burned by that, don't be a day trader. All right. So does this affect the local producers like you, Pecos Country Energy? What have y'all had to make any adjustments because of the Iranian war? What's coming up on the Crew Truth podcast? Oh, well, that sounds nice and scary. RT Trevino, Crew Truth Podcast, and Pecos Country Energy. Thank you very much for the oil update, sir. All right, coming up next on the James Show, it's been really hard to not play this next soundbite every single segment. But James Carville went on a tear, and Garrett showed me this. It was on Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins earlier today. So if you heard this, all day listeners, you're going to hear it again, and we'll get a good laugh about this. But when we talk about Trump derangement syndrome, you know, this is real, and it's not endemic to the left. There's such thing. There was Obama derangement syndrome. There are people who get irrational levels of hatred for their political opponents on both teams. But it's nothing like this. And it's just to be so overt and public about it and not embarrassed that you're having a mental breakdown, it's just fantastic. It's a wonderful piece of audio. And the madder he gets, the more you're going to laugh. So stick around for the James Show and James Carville's epic TDS meltdown. That's next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Who wants to hear a good old Trump derangement syndrome meltdown? It's the James Show. Newstalk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. And today's example comes to you from James Carville. Now, James Carville is a guy that's known as a big player in Democrat politics. Everything from Bill Clinton to Obama to the modern day. People have leaned on him, and he's been fairly successful. But the Trump derangement syndrome is, how do you take a guy serious after this audio clip? Because we need somebody to take serious. Not everyone can be whimsical. Not everyone can be a comedian. Not everyone can be unreliable. There's got to be decent people you can talk to on both sides of the aisle. But after this, I mean, listen to this. James Carville admitting he has Trump derangement syndrome, but I mean, have you ever been this upset about any politician in your entire life?
You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the and you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a so much that we can't see straight. And oh my God, James, you can't give him credit for getting rid of the penny? Let me tell it to you straight. Oh, you go faint. It's like saying Mussolini made the trains run on time. So I'm supposed to be here. This guy's been convicted of 34 felonies. Is it by anybody's estimation is compliant to Putin and dictators. He's invading people with authorization. He's got the most incompetent buffoons. So I'm supposed to give him credit for firing Kristi Noem when he actually hired Kristi Noem. Oh, and he hired Pam Bondi. Oh, what's this tin horn drugstore cowboy we got for Secretary of War? This. Okay. Don't even get me started. What about illustrious labor secretary? I can't forget toilet seat Bobby Kennedy. I mean, you had somebody in your cabinet that snorted cocaine off of a toilet seat, and Dan Abrams is telling me I got Trump derangement syndrome.
I think you do have Trump derangement syndrome. Does anyone remember all the way a month ago? Can you remember, can we rewind and have your memory work all the way back for a whole month? Because I want to go back to the halftime show. Bad Bunny was the halftime performer. Now, I myself, Bad Bunny fan of his music. His politics are terrible, but that's kind of par for the course for most of my favorite musicians. Remember what the final message was on the Jumbotron and everybody cheered? Do you remember what the quote was from the halftime show? The only thing more powerful than hate is love. This is the annoying part about it. They run around just screaming into their phone, having mental breakdowns about Donald Trump, about MAGA Republicans, about conservatives, about Christians, about straight people, about anything that is opposed to them. They call for your death. They call for your punishment. They cheer when Charlie Kirk is shot and killed in front of your face. They cheer when Donald Trump is shot in the ear. They cheer for most of these nasty, awful acts of violence. They're committing the acts of violence. They're shooting up Austin. They're throwing bombs in front of Mom Donnie's mayoral mansion. They're flamethrowing people. They're driving cars in crowds. They're shooting up our ICE detention facilities here in Dallas, Alvarado, McAllen. But the only thing more powerful than hate is love. How is the party, how is the ideology that is committing all the hate, lecturing the other side of the aisle about hate? Because that's what they'll tell you. They'll be, oh, the maggots, they're just all about hate. They just hate, and we're the ones with empathy. Did that sound like empathy? Did James Carville sound like empathy? Did the guy chucking the bombs at the stupid Jake Lane protest, was that empathetic? Was it an empathetic mass murder that we had in Austin last weekend? Was it empathetic when you're shooting at ICE agents in Dallas and Alvarado? I mean, the list keeps going on and on. Y'all can't stop committing acts of violence and then turning around and lecturing us about being hateful. We're not going into your schools and shooting up your children. But people keep coming into Christian schools and shooting Christian children. And it's not a happenstance. It's not like, I was just shooting up schools and this one happened to be Christian. No, the last couple have been trans motivated, attacking us specifically because of our religion, an actual hate crime. But we got to get lectured in the Super Bowl. And the thing that bothers you about the Super Bowl is these people walk away actually thinking, yes, we're the lovey ones, we're the empathetic ones, and they're the hateful ones. What the hell are you talking about? Because I can come up with the sound bites like this all day, every day. Remember, I just played this one. What was this, from March 4th? Oh, good. So last week.
And literally, if you have any part to play...
Literally, you already know this is going to end badly.
And literally, if you have any part to play in the American military industrial complex, literally, you. I hope you never make it home. I'm so serious.
There's many examples. Here's another one. Just hating MAGA.
I'm going to make one thing clear. I'm going to say it loud so the people in the back can hear me. If you voted for and if you support this current administration and the orange turd that called himself president of this country, you are the most un-American and unpatriotic thing to ever exist. We do not have kings and we do not have dictators in our democracy. Period. And if you do not like what I am saying, you can get the out. You are a traitor to this nation. You're an enemy of this state.
Yeah, we got it. The hate runs so deep. When we get upset about flags being flown at protests or in public, it's like, hey, why are we flying all these foreign flags? Why are we flying the Palestinian flag? Why are we flying the Mexican flag? What does Team Blue complain about? American flags.
I'm here enjoying a nice day at the beach with my kids, and I turn around. I got these flags planted here on the beach by these MAGA. Listen, this is all America. We know you didn't storm the beaches to stake out your territory on the beach. This isn't the moon. I get it. This is America. But I'm sick of my flag being represented by white nationalist trash on a beach. Go yourselves.
Go bleep yourself, white nationalist trash. It's not like he interviewed them and said, hey, what's your position on white nationalism? He just made the assumption because they're flying the flag. Good Lord. I have a ton of examples. I could play them, but it would run the rest of the show. But if there is anyone on Team Blue that happens to stumble upon the show, you sure you're not the hateful ones? You sure? Because the terror attacks seem to be coming from one side. Whether it's the Antifa terror attacks at our ICE facilities, the BLM terror attacks where they're shooting our cops here in downtown Dallas, or rioting and chucking bricks through the windows and destroying businesses and setting stuff on fire, whether it's the Muslim terror attacks, which are happening all over the place at all times, on an almost weekly basis. You sure? You sure you're not the hateful ones? Because the evidence seems to point otherwise. And I mean, I hate to ask such a hack question, but really, seriously, who's more hateful? The left or the right? Because if you look at the criminal records, and if you look at who's doing all the attacks, it is, and I'm not saying it's entirely one-sided, it is almost entirely one-sided. I had asked yesterday, is there any such thing as a Christian terror attack? And Brandon, one of my good listeners, pointed out Eric Rudolph in the late 90s. Remember the guy that bombed the Atlanta Olympics? There was a couple other bombings that he did. He ended up taking a few lives. So, okay, there's one guy that was not just a Christian, but motivated by his Christian faith. There's a couple of isolated incidents where one guy killed an abortion doctor, and there was one guy that bombed an abortion clinic in 2007, but nobody got killed. So really, the body count for Christian terrorism is at like 4. And the last time it happened was the late 90s. So I think it's pretty damn one-sided. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, some new info on the Dart Silver Line came out, and it's even worse than I would have predicted, and I hate Dart. Speaking of hate. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, who doesn't enjoy a good Trump derangement syndrome crash out? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. You mind if I play the Carville crash out again? The madder he gets, the happier I get. It's fun being accused of being hateful and mean and evil while they're screaming and angry and you're laughing. Nothing proves them wrong more than reacting at people like this with a laugh.
You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the and you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a so much that we can't see straight. And oh my God, James, you can't give him credit for getting rid of the penny? Let me tell it to you straight. Oh, you go faint. It's like saying Mussolini made the trains run on time. So I'm supposed to be here. This guy's been convicted of 34 felonies. Is it by anybody's estimation is compliant to Putin and dictators? He's invading people with an authorization. He's got the most incompetent buffoons. So I'm supposed to give him credit for firing Kristi Noem when he actually hired Kristi Noem. Oh, and he hired Pam Bondi. Oh, what's this tin horn drugstore cowboy we got for Secretary of War? This
Calm
don't even get
down.
me started. What about
Calm down. This guy. Remember the lady I played for you? I guess this was 2-3 weeks ago. Here's a great liberal crash out.
Here's the thing. I don't want impeachment. I don't want them to serve time. I want them taken into the city town square, hung from their ankles, and cut them from groin to chin.
She's probably real fun at parties here. So you got to hear that. This is what it's like flipping through my Twitter feed. I see that, and then right after that, I'll see a lecture from, like, this is Jacob Frey, the Minneapolis mayor. We have to meet hate with love.
We are better than a bunch of ICE agents being deployed to cities around the country and ripping apart families and communities. We're better than that. And so we are going to meet that hate with love. We are going to meet that despair with hope. We are going to meet that injustice with constitutional justice ourselves. And we're going to make sure that in this very difficult moment, we do not take the bait that these ICE agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city.
Oh, yes. That's what we have to do. We have to meet hate with love. By meeting hate with love, do you mean firebombing Tesla dealerships? Do you mean keying Tesla cars? Do you mean chucking a brick through the front window of a Foot Locker and getting you some new Air Force Ones? Is that how you meet hate with love? What about throwing improvised explosive devices at an anti-Muslim protester in front of the mayor of New York City's house just a few days ago? Are you meeting hate with love when you gun up and go down to 6th Street and start murdering fellow Texans in Austin? Is that meeting hate with love? Where exactly are you meeting hate with love? When do we get to that part? Because when I look out my window into the real world at who is meeting hate with love, I see that it's the right-wingers, and more specifically, the good Christians of America who are more generous. They donate more to charity. They donate a higher percentage of their wealth to charity. They volunteer more time than non-Christians, especially you Democrats over here. When I see someone take a homeless person down here in downtown Dallas and get them into a shelter, most of the shelters down here are run, financed, and staffed with Christians right-wing team red Christians. Where's the atheist group that is housing the homeless and feeding the hungry here in downtown Dallas? Where's the Muslim group for that matter? Yet we've got to be told we're the hateful ones. We've got to be told we're the ones that are for hate and they're the ones for love. While they're throwing bombs at you, they're telling you, why are you so hateful? While they are burning down your businesses, why are you so hateful? While they are beating you up in the streets, why are you so hateful? While they are calling for you to be gutted from groin to chain. Is that a thing or did she just make that up? Because I'm not sure if I
Here's
heard.
the thing. I don't want impeachment. I don't want them to serve time. I want them taken into the city town square, hung from their ankles, and cut them from groin to chin.
Yeah, so we've got to meet hate with love. So let's go firebomb some Tesla dealerships. Let's go shoot up ICE facilities. Let's go murder some of our fellow Americans. Let's chunk bombs at people. Let's do mass shootings. Let's do mass flamethrower events. And then let's apologize for all the terrorism that's happening on behalf of your own ideology while demonizing the people who aren't doing the terroristic acts. And then lecture them about being so full of hate. And they need to be more loving. Oh, thank you very much for this nice lesson in etiquette and how to be a nice guy. My last clip on this, a fun montage from Robert De Niro.
Okay, well, you know, this is cable.
Sorry. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con, a bullshit artist, a mutt. He's an idiot. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. I'd like to punch him in the face. Punch him in the face. Of course I want to punch him in the face.
Right.
He's so stupid. Divisive, racist, misogynist, ignorant. Stupid. He's a lowlife. A national disgrace. That scumbag. He's sick. Total loser. Fake president. Gangster. First family. Psychopathic, malignant narcissist. Narcissistic and self-centered. He's just obtuse. He's dumb. So stupid. When he's in jail, and that I certainly am looking forward to, take him away in an orange jumpsuit. I'm going to say one thing. Trump. It's no longer down with Trump. It's Trump.
All right, now, did you get the message here? Can you stop being so hateful and start being nicer like our left-wing brothers here in America? Coming up next, CNN had to delete a tweet yesterday, and it was a hell of a tweet about the two guys who tried to blow up a bunch of people in New York City over the weekend, the guys who threw the improvised explosive device. I'm going to read you that tweet next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, guess what? The View doesn't like you. You probably already knew that. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I'm kind of giggling over here because in my last segment, Richard sent me a Facebook message pointing out I got something wrong in my interpretation of one of the sound bites. This lady doesn't hate the military. She actually wants to copulate with the military. I'm using clean words because it's after 3 o'clock and kids might be in the car. But Richard was pointing out, because I was under the impression when she says F the military, that that's a bad thing. But he's thinking maybe she wants to F the military, as in maybe that's an offer. So I listened again, and he might be right. Let's try that again.
Here's the thing. I don't want to be.
Oh, wait, not the groin to chain lady. Where's the ear to the military guy? Yeah.
And literally, if you have any part to play in...
Wait, I hate any soundbite that starts with literally. That is the worst harbinger. It's like you're about to go to the movies and like, who's in it? What? Vin Diesel? I'm not watching.
And literally, if you have any part to play in the American military industrial complex, literally, you. I hope you never make it home. I'm so serious.
Oh, so yeah, I think she's like, not only will she copulate with you, but she'll also let you spend the night. She hopes she doesn't make it home. I guess she wants to sleep with you. Maybe she just likes them. Maybe it's a misinterpretation and she loves the military a whole lot. But if you're just joining us, we're trying to just parse through this because the James Carville crash out's been getting a lot of play on social media, and I just love this. Let me do it again.
You're right. I got Trump derangement syndrome. I hate the and you know what? I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to get better. I want to get worse. I want to hate him more. I pray to God in heaven, God reign the righteous reign of Trump derangement syndrome. Pray for me, Lord. I'm your vessel on this earth. Pray for the people that listen to this. We want more. We want to hate the son of a so much that we can't see straight.
Oh, yeah. So then they go from that to telling you have to meet hate with love. Well, let's go to the ladies on The View. Yesterday, after an immigrant tried to kill as many people as possible with an improvised explosive device over the weekend in New York City. After the previous week, an immigrant went through and street sweepered Austin, killing 3 of our fellow Texan neighbors and injuring a dozen others. After all this, we have to get a lecture on how immigrants are so awesome and so nice and so much better than you are.
But people who pay taxes, because just because you haven't become a citizen doesn't mean you're not paying taxes.
Actually, most undocumented immigrants pay more taxes than anyone. And we should also mention that they're 5 times less likely to commit crimes than Americans. Citizens.
That kind of counts if you say immigrants pay more taxes than American citizens. I mean, some immigrants pay more taxes than American citizens because the man who holds the record for the most amount of taxes paid to the federal government in a single year is Elon Musk, an immigrant. What do you think about the fine immigrants up at the Leering Center in Minnesota? You think they're a net positive on the tax base? Yes, they pay more in taxes and they commit less crimes and they're just better people. Boy, you really do hate me, don't you, Sonny Hostin? Next time you hear anyone in Team Blue, whether it's a media, a politician, your sister-in-law, griping about how poorly the Democrats do in reaching white men, straight white men, remind them of this. Remind them at every turn you take sides against them. Even when a Muslim immigrant of color is trying to murder a straight white man with a bomb in the middle of the street while yelling Allahu Akbar, they'll come out and they'll have to say nice things about the immigrants. Well, yeah, just because he's trying to murder you in the street with an improvised explosive device, they commit less crime and they pay more in taxes. And I love the less crime statistic. Because it's impossible for them to commit less crime if they're here illegally. They committed a crime to get here. They're committing a crime every day by staying here. And so unless everyone else in the population is committing crimes every day, then of course they commit more crimes. Well, that's not what they mean. What they mean, besides immigration offenses and besides fraud offenses from getting the fake ID and the fake social security number and the fake documents and the fake tax returns and the fake W-2s for your fake employment records, other than that, if you don't count all the laws that they break, they commit less crimes than you do. That's an amazing stretch you guys are doing here. On top of that, go try and find out how well they keep the statistics on the amount of crimes illegal immigrants commit. Because it was about 10 years ago, Ann Coulter was writing a book, and in one of the chapters, she was talking about crime and immigration or whatever. And so she was trying to track down how many illegal immigrants are in our federal prison system, and she couldn't find the number. They don't keep the number. She was trying to find out, okay, well, what if I just added it all up from the state? Certainly they keep the numbers. And no, there's pretty much no records on what crimes are committed by immigrants, legal immigrants, illegal immigrants. They just don't bother to check. They don't bother to check how much they cost in Medicare and Medicaid. Or I guess it's just Medicaid. And we just started doing it in Texas, and we found out, well, it's over $100 billion just for this one state in 1 year. And that's just for the people who complied, when we had a whole lot of people who were voluntarily opting out of gathering that information. And so if you take incomplete data from crimes and incomplete data from the cost that they put on the taxpayers, you can come out and there will be some dishonest think tank that'll say, see, here's the proof they commit less crime than the natives. They pay taxes. They're a net boon to the tax rolls. When you know neither one of them could possibly be true. But just for once in your life, Sonny Hostin, could you come and defend me like that? Could you defend Americans like that? Could you defend straight white males like that? Could you say one nice thing, or at least be sympathetic when we're getting bombs thrown at us, when our ICE facilities are getting shot up, when our Christian schools are getting shot up, when our presidential candidate's getting shot in the ear, when one of our thought leaders is getting shot in the neck and murdered in front of our face on a college campus? Can you please just, in some instance, even when we're down, even when we're at the lowest of our low, can you at one point be sympathetic or empathetic toward us? No? Show me the soundbite where she's been it, and I'll take it all back. I will retract it, and happily so. But is that really the party of empathy? The party of sympathy? The party of love trumps hate? Remember, the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime said the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Well, I have yet to see the love. Thank you very much, because it's never been directed at me from you guys. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is the... do I have time to read? All right, I'll read the tweet CNN had to delete. And also some new numbers from DART's already failed Silverline have come out. I'm James Parker. It's Newstalk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Yeah, DART's even worse than you thought. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'll tell you that. First, let me read this tweet from CNN. You know, you already knew, if you listened to the James Show yesterday, all about the two guys that tried to mass murder some Americans for their Muslim ideology, motivated by their Muslim ideology. We know that they're immigrants. We know that they were not born here. We know that they're naturalized citizens through their family. We know that they live in Pennsylvania and they're not downtrodden. They're not oppressed. In fact, they're middle class, if not upper middle class. We know they have no real grievances. We know that. So the one thing that was driving them was their belief in Islam. We know that they tried to murder some people in a terrorist attack simply for disagreeing with them politically, or I guess religiously. Same thing to them. And after all this is how CNN decided to remember the situation yesterday. This was only up for a few minutes, and they got drugged so bad online they had to take it down. Here's the quote, and it's only 2 sentences. Two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. But in less than an hour, their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs during an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Zoran Mamdani's home. Here's what we know so far. Yeah, Pennsylvania teenagers, not Muslim terrorists, not Muslim immigrants, Pennsylvania teenagers. As if the defining characteristic of who they are and why they are there and did what they did is because they are teenagers from Pennsylvania. What kind of garbage is that? Oh, we better look out for teenagers now? We better keep an eye out for those Pennsylvanians. No, you better look out for the Muslim immigrants. Those are the ones who keep doing this over and over. That's the ones who did it in New York City this weekend. It was Austin last weekend. There has been a string of Muslim terror attacks all up and down America. But look out for Pennsylvania teenagers. Yeah, they had to take that one down pretty quick. Now, this next story I absolutely love, and I'm trying to get Kara Mendelson on the show. She is a city councilwoman here in Dallas, and she was pointing out some things that came out in the first report, the first round of numbers that we got from DART when it comes to the Silver Line. New people, the Silver Line. DART, our public transportation system, just opened a new train line from Plano to DFW International Airport. So the upper middle class, affluent people of Plano can enjoy the violent, stinky hellscape that is public transportation. It makes no sense. It's one of the dumbest things that we've done in Dallas, and that's a bold statement considering, the rest of DART is such a huge, embarrassing failure. But in this one, it comes out that DART made some promises. DART was telling you that when we open the Silver Line, the estimate on how many riders it's going to have every day, and they're talking about from after the first week, they were estimating 5,630 riders on the DART Silver Line a day. Here's the real world. It's less than 2,000 a day, and the last daily number reported, 1,130. It's a huge, embarrassing failure, just like every DART project has been. They lie to you so they can go spend $1.65 billion to build a train that no one wants, or that few people want. That's nothing but a waste of your money. And the takeaway from this is, I guess the Silver Line was a bad idea. No. The takeaway from this is they're lying to you in the same manner about City Hall right now so they can demolish it and hand it over to some moneyed interest. That's the takeaway. I'll try and get Kara Mendelson on tomorrow or the next day or eventually to find out about this. More coming up on The James Show. Stick around. Mark Levin's up next. I'm about to go put up the podcast for this fine show. You can check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.